I'm Karina Mitchell, and this is your CBS Mobile News Break. Fears of a worldwide recession have sent global stock markets into freefall. Boards across Asia and Europe tanked overnight. This week, look for a 700-year-old legend to return in a twisted fable that's anything but a fairy tale. So I can attest to the fact that you really nailed this role as a cantankerous anchorman.
Oh, thank you.
How does it feel to have all of the buzz swirling now again? If you're looking for creative ways to jazz up your holiday meal this Thanksgiving, look no further. So this film starts out a little slow, would you say? No, I'm kidding. And thanks to teenage girls everywhere, New Moon, the sequel in the suspenseful Twilight saga, broke the bank. This might actually be the most we've seen of Rosalie's personality in the Twilight series so far. There was actually a smile.
I know, there were a few smiles.
And even though overall ticket sales were down this year, audiences clearly feel old as gold, with sequels making up the top 7 grossers. Is there any particular advice or words of wisdom that you have for women who want to become involved in the political arena? Why go through the effort? You say there's a meal you can prepare when you want to break up with someone. Hollywood's ritziest night brought out a bevy of shining stars, all striving to put their most fashionable foot forward. And so we saute some of these plantains up as well.
Yes, so a little bit more salt, a little bit more pepper, and then you chop down the plantain to size.
Now the program, which has been in effect since July, is called a select bus service. The black boxes from a Continental jet that veered off the runway in Denver have been recovered intact. New York is getting a new head of the Catholic Church. If you've noticed a downturn in the tone of the presidential campaign, you may not be alone. And I want to say last night for you must have been crack as to addicts. It was a real fashion high, right? A new study by KPMG says Honolulu, Hawaii is the priciest city in the U.S. Though some feel it comes too soon after his death, the early word is this documentary manages to capture the music legend at his creative best. Traditional surgery requires a foot-long incision, and patients need to spend a week in hospital just to recuperate. But with the new approach, they can go home in as little as 2 days. As for Mr. Miranda, he's at his wit's end and says the constant drone of bees at night keeps him awake, further impacting his health. It might be time to take the show on the road, because you can sing, you've got some pipes.
All right, thank you.
What was it like? Music, of course, isn't new to you, but playing a musician and actually getting to perform.
How amazing was it for you to reunite with the cast?
It's been honestly more than a person should ever ask for.
What was the appeal of working on a project like this?
I think for me, first of all, it was a real privilege.
In New York, I'm Karina Mitchell. 38-year-old Wendy Cirillo was stunned to learn she had cancer.
You know, I have 3 kids, and that's all I was thinking about, that they needed me and I needed them.
Fortunately, the tumor was detected early.
Left kidney tumor's right here.
Dr. Michael Palazzi is going to remove the growth with a device that looks kind of like a video game.
We're just removing the tumor itself and leaving behind healthy kidney tissue.
His hands and feet operate 3 robotic arms. Doctors make 3 incisions in Wendy's stomach, then feed inside tiny instruments controlled by the robot.
So we're really working in a space that's really 2 by 2 inches, so to speak.
After just a few minutes, he locates the cancerous tissue.
We can really do very precise sort of movements, wrist-type movements, that normally as if you had your hand in there.
The tumor is cut up and then taken out in pieces. Traditional surgery requires a foot-long incision, and patients need to spend a week in hospital just to recuperate. But with the new approach, they can go home in as little as 2 days. The surgery was a success, but Wendy will remain vigilant.
I'll probably have an MRI every year for the rest of my life.
But thanks to the new technology, she doesn't need chemotherapy or radiation, and her kidney is working normally. In New York, I'm Karina Mitchell. Now the program, which has been in effect since July, is called a select bus service, and it's all been designed to cut travel time for commuters on the heavily traveled BX12 route in the Bronx. Travel time is cut because passengers are able to buy tickets in advance from the bus stops on the route, which runs from 207th Street in Upper Manhattan through the Bronx along Fordham Road and Pelham Parkway. The buses travel in special lanes that are off limits to other vehicles during peak travel times. Now News 12 reported that initially the program had some hitches, including no Spanish directions on vending machines, and that some of the local stops had been removed. But people we spoke to about the speed of the new route were happy with the program.
It would save me ultimately 7 to 8 minutes per ride.
Now the MTA says they plan to initiate more select bus service stops in Brooklyn and also on the heavily traveled M15 routes on 1st and 2nd Avenue in Manhattan. Reporting from East Fordham Road, Karina Mitchell, News 12, the Bronx. One resident in this building has a serious problem.
I'm just frustrated, you know, that they're stinging me in my own apartment.
Edwin Miranda, who's still on medication from recently undergoing chemotherapy, now has to deal with the added pain from being stung by bees, which are swarming into his home. He says they're everywhere.
My immune system is low, and I get up tired, nauseous with the smell, you know.
He says his is the only apartment in the building with the infestation. The bees were living outside in a crevice, which the super covered up. This led to the insects making a beeline for Miranda's apartment.
I mean, he has a nice apartment, but with the bee situation, he has to be flapping them with the fly thing.
And Miranda says he's contacted the management office, who said they would send an exterminator to take care of the problem, but that never happened. Miranda just wants the bees gone.
I want to see the bees out of my house. You know, that's my apartment, I pay rent, the bees don't.
As for Mr. Miranda, he's at his wit's end and says the constant drone of bees at night keeps him awake, further impacting his health. Reporting from 184th Street, Karina Mitchell, News 12, the Bronx. How low can it go? Family matters and a prize for peace. Hi, I'm Karina, and this is your mobile news now. Fears of a worldwide recession have sent global stock markets into freefall. Boards across Asia and Europe tanked overnight. Japan's Nikkei index plunged 10%, marking its worst week in history. All of this on the heels of yet another crushing day on Wall Street that saw the Dow drop to its lowest level in 5 years. President Bush addressed the nation this morning. He's urging Americans to stay calm in the face of an unprecedented economic meltdown. He says government has the tools and is working swiftly to stabilize markets and implement the recommendations in the bill signed a week ago. Sarah Palin insists she has nothing to worry about in the Troopergate scandal, but her husband may not be so lucky. In a report due out today, Palin's husband admits he complained to Alaska state officials about his former brother-in-law. He called him a threat to his family. The McCain campaign insists the allegations against Governor Palin are false and have been tainted by partisan politics. And sushi lovers everywhere may start looking at their food a little differently. According to National Geographic, the population of bluefin tuna has dropped to just 10% of its former numbers. To save endangered fish from the chopping block, one environmentalist has come up with a plan. He's releasing a guide to sustainable sushi. According to the book, fish to stay away from include bluefin, octopus, and red snapper. But it's okay to indulge in mackerel and U.S.-farmed abalone and albacore tuna. Well, that's one way to have your fish and eat it too. And that's it for your mobile news on the go. In New York, I'm Karina Mitchell. Thanks for clicking. The red carpet was abuzz tonight with celebrities who turned out to attend the prestigious New York Film Critics Awards. The show that made Manolo Blahniks a household name hits the big screen at the red carpet premiere. We're here at a special screening of Madonna's newest film, Arthur and the Invisibles. Red is the color of the day as Fashion Week 2008 kicks off.
How amazing was it for you to reunite with the cast?
It's been honestly more than a person should ever ask for.
I'm just thrilled. You know, it's a celebration of women and fashion, and I'm just here to have fun.
So I guess that little road trip Harold and Kumar took to White Castle worked out pretty well because you guys are back making the sequel. How much weight did you gain putting on that dress?
That's a very good question. I gained 4 pounds and 94,000 Swarovski crystals.
You're looking a lot more relaxed tonight. You're finally out of character.
Oh, well, yeah, he carried with him a certain degree of tension, I think, yeah.
You play one of 3 brothers who come together, and they're on this train journey throughout India. Yeah. And they're also on their own little personal journeys as well. Yeah. Tell us about your character and what he's gone through.
It did something pretty profound for me in my life.
What do you have to say to Simon Cowell about this one? You know what? Thank them for putting me on American Idol. Because had it not been for American Idol, I never would have been seen.
And congratulations on your Grammy nominations.
Oh, thank you very much.
What does that feel like?
It feels really nice. But I want to win all of them, yes.
You've played some very controversial real-life characters.
Yeah.
How much of a departure was this role for you?
Totally departure. He was quite an extraordinary character.
The women just loved him.
They did, and he was an old guy, like me.
How do you feel right after the show?
Relief. That's about the major word because nobody tripped, nobody fell that I know of.
War Inc. brings Hilary Duff back to the big screen, this time along with other big-name stars including Marissa Tomei, Joan Cusack, Ben Kingsley, and the omnipresent Omar Sharif. A secret can be difficult to keep, especially when the person working to expose it is Halle Berry.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's got anti-spyware on his computer. There's a big freaking sign that says stop in the name of Spyridge.
But that's exactly what she tries to do in the psychological thriller Perfect Stranger, where she plays a smart, no-nonsense journalist intent on ending the mystery behind her friend's disappearance.
It's Grace. She's missing.
Oh my God. Grace.
On screen, Berry easily charms the man she's pursuing.
I think my character's initial reaction to seeing Halle Berry is the same initial reaction that virtually every man on the planet has.
Which is?
Gorgeous. Just takes your breath away. You start stuttering. You just...
But off-screen, tumultuous relationships are no stranger to the divorcee twice over, who's been anything but secretive about thoughts of suicide after a split from first husband, baseball star David Justice. Why did you decide to come out with that information?
Well, I came out with it 10 years ago when it was relevant. And, you know, it's been brought up again. It's just not where I'm at now in my life. You know, I'm in the best time of my life.
And with a brand new star on Hollywood's Walk of Fame to go along with the Oscar and Emmy already on her resume, her co-star couldn't agree more.
She's at the top of her game.
But people go through ups and downs. I think it's very human. It's very natural.
Just like her character.
All you can say is sorry.
Well, I don't...
Well, tell me something.
With Perfect Stranger set to open big nationwide, one thing is clear. This perfect beauty is certainly no stranger to success. Karina Mitchell, CBS, New York.